Let's bring in Peter Switzer now, founder of the Switzer Report. Pete, good morning. So what do you think? Do we go up again tomorrow?
Well, Pete, I'm trained as an economist, and all I can say is what the Reserve Bank governor should do. But we are forced by wonderful news people like you to guess psychologically what the Reserve Bank might do.
Well, often we've been right over the last 12 months because it's only going one way.
That's right. Look. 1 in 3 economists think he will raise, but most of those think he might. Those who don't agree think he will raise maybe in July or August. Pete, I think the smartest thing he should do is wait to see what the economic data says. That inflation number last week was a monthly number, and remember, it went from 6 to 6.8%. If you add all those 12 months of the year together, but if you look at the actual inflation number in that month, it was 0.3%. Now in America, Pete, they'd multiply that by 12 and say, oh, inflation is 3.6%. So I just think there's good reason for him to hold fire. If he doesn't, I think he will compound the problem, which I think is accumulating at the moment, which will be really emphasised when the mortgage cliff happens. That's why I think that Australia will slow down.
Okay, what about the bump to the minimum wage last week, Pete? Does that influence his decision?
Yeah, that definitely will. It still is worthwhile waiting to see, the flow through of that decision. But you're right. If that wage decision wasn't as hefty, and you've got aviation workers, you've got public servants, ABC staff, they're all looking for higher pay, and the other unions are just piggybacking on that. So there is a reason for the RBA governor to be concerned. I also say we have had 11 interest rate rises in the fastest time ever. So I think that also has to be respected. Well.
Sure, no doubt about that. When I introduced you today, Pete, we mentioned that Australia's financial misery index is at its highest rate since the GFC. Just tell me about that. Well, I mean, obviously we know why it's so bad, but that's the first I've heard of the financial misery index.
Yeah, it's been around a long time, Pete.
I just wasn't aware of it.
No, but look, it's a great headline maker. It's not necessarily universally watchable and comparable over a large period of time. But during the 80s, when your parents and people like me were struggling with 18% home loan interest rates, the misery index got to over 20. It's now around 7 or 8. And that shows you the difference in the magnitude of the numbers. But I do believe younger people or people who borrowed recently on very high prices with this rapid rise in interest rates, they really are doing it tough. And I don't think the misery index actually shows just how miserable it is for those people who aren't $10,000 business class flights around the world. They are Aussies who aren't miserable at all, apart from when they pay the $10,000 to fly business class, compared to the people who are really worried about home loan repayments every month.
All right, well, as we just heard there, the ACCC's coming after the airlines today, Qantas and Virgin in particular. Anyway, that's a footnote to our discussion. Pete, just finally, big numbers to watch for stocks this week?
Yeah, I think what the RBA tells us on Tuesday is going to be important for the local market, as well as GDP's out on Wednesday. And I'm hoping it's a low number, and that will be a good reason for the Reserve Bank to hold fire in coming months. But also in the US, watching what's going on there with tech stocks, with the AI enthusiasm. They're looking for artificial intelligence in any company in the world that will benefit from AI, and even Appen's share price has risen in recent weeks because of that.
I do have a little bit more time here, Pete. Just back on that. I mean, Qantas and Virgin, their funds are in a pretty healthy spot at the moment when you're looking at their revenue that they're making. Would you expect that prices would or should come down soon?
Without a doubt. And the fact that the ACCC is getting involved, it's time that they be more accountable. They really did it tough during the during the coronavirus crash. They're closed down. So you cut them some slack. But now I think they're flying really high. Their share price, or Qantas share price, is going to be high. Virgin are going to take the opportunity to float the company again. I think it is time for the ACCC to have a real hard look at the prices being charged for flights.
Yeah, and now suggesting this morning that the airlines should be fined whenever a flight is cancelled. I think there's a lot of passengers or customers who would be very supportive of that. Peter Switzer, good to chat. Talk to you soon.
Cheers, mate.